Nuggets Heat Game 1. Let's talk about it. Now, Game 1 is always my favorite game of the series because it's kind of the feeling out game. And you start to get an idea of how the series is going to go and sort of what adjustments each team is going to need to make. And the adjustment for the Miami Heat in this one is very simple. Make shots. Max Strus, Caleb Martin, and Duncan Robinson shot a combined 2 of 23 from the field. This man, Caleb Martin, was one vote away from winning the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. One. And he regresses to this in Game 1. They're going to need more. They're going to need a lot more if they're going to win this series. Max Strus, 0 for 10. Didn't record a field goal. And Duncan Robinson didn't shoot well either. Those are 3 sharpshooters that Miami's relied on all postseason long, and they're a big part of the reason that they're number 1 in the league in playoff three-point percentage. Shooting almost 40% from the field, like 39%. And those 3 shot a combined 2 of 23. Unacceptable. You need more out of those guys. Jimmy Butler did not look aggressive at all in this game. I think he had 16 points maybe? I don't remember exactly, but he didn't have any more than 16. And it was just a rough go for Jimmy Buckets. I mean, he had 5 to start the game. He got inside for a lay, and then he had a tough contested 3. And I was like, all right, this is a Jimmy Buckets game, but it just wasn't that. It was a Bam Adebayo game. And this is something I alluded to on my main channel when I did the finals preview and breakdown and all of that. I expected this to be a Bam Adebayo series. It's just a question of when he wants to show up, because we all know Bam can hoop. We all know he can get buckets offensively, but some games he just lacks the aggressiveness and the assertiveness to do it. But in this game, it was exactly that. He was dominant against Jokic. I said in the video that Bam Adebayo is easily going to be the quickest and most mobile big that Jokic has had to guard all postseason. Gobert's not that, Cat's not that, and as talented as Anthony Davis is, he's not exactly agile and quick like Bam Adebayo is. And Miami made sure to exploit that, especially in the pick and roll. They did a lot of actions with him and Jimmy on the baseline, and because that's where the Nuggets wanted to force it. It's not like the Celtics who switch everything on screens. Denver tried to force him to the baseline, and that fed right into what Miami wanted to do because it got Bam in his spots where he could get his little touch shots off, or he could dump it inside to cutters. And that's where I want to give a shout out to Haywood Highsmith, because he provided some great minutes off the Miami Heat bench tonight. 18 points to be exact. Hit a couple threes in the corner, but most importantly, he got most of his points off cuts. Bam would just dump it off to him down low, and he'd get a layup or an easy dunk. And he was really good defensively too, especially switching on Nikola Jokic. He got a couple of steals, I believe, down in the low post on him. Haywood Highsmith provided some really good minutes, and I definitely expect to see more of him as this series goes on. Now I want to touch on Denver a little bit. In the first half, Miami made Nikola Jokic a passer, and that was a mistake. We all know that the best way to beat the Nuggets is by making Nikola Jokic score the ball, because you take away his best ability, which is passing and playmaking for his teammates. Obviously, Nikola Jokic is still a generational scorer, and he can score the rock whenever he wants to, too. But we all know the Nuggets are a lot better when everyone's involved. And the Joker did not score that much in the first half. I think he finished with like 27. I think he might have scored 10 in the first half, 17 in the second, but only had like 10 points in the first half, like 4 shot attempts too. And Miami did a good job of limiting him scoring the ball, but the problem was the ball was going everywhere else. Jamal Murray had a big first half. Michael Porter Jr. had a big first half. Aaron Gordon had a huge first quarter. He had like 12 points in the first quarter. And the Nuggets were just clicking offensively. I mean, we've seen this all postseason where the Nuggets don't go too deep into their bench. They'll go Bruce Brown, Christian Brown, and Jeff Green, and that'll be the extent of it. But for the most part, you're getting killed by their starting 5. KCP wasn't doing a whole lot in the first half, but Gordon, Murray, and Porter Jr. were really killing Miami. And there was just nothing they could do about it. Porter Jr. in particular, I really wanted to see Jimmy Butler match up with him a lot more. They started with Caleb Martin on him, and Porter Jr. was just shooting over him. In the second half, they did make that adjustment where Butler did take Porter Jr. on a few possessions, and it worked out a lot better because MPJ didn't have nearly as impactful as the second half. But nonetheless, the Nuggets were awesome in the first half. Nikola Jokic had like 10 assists, and they were clicking on all cylinders. So Miami made the adjustment in the second half, and was like, all right, we're going to make this guy score the ball. We're going to try to take away his teammates. And lo and behold, the Nuggets weren't nearly as effective in the second half, and particularly in the fourth quarter. The Heat outscored them 30-20 in the quarter. And they did this by playing awesome zone defense, which I thought was weird because I heard Eric Spoelstra allude to it before the series started, but he said he still wanted to throw some zone at the Nuggets, which for me, it sounded stupid because they have Nikola Jokic on the other side. Generational playmaker, like he's going to find ways to break his own. But even with Jokic in the game, they ran it to start the fourth quarter, and for most of the fourth quarter, in fact. And Denver just couldn't seem to get it clicking until the last couple minutes when they finally started to play everything through the Joker, and he was able to exploit the cracks in the zone. But for the most part, just like against Boston, just like against New York, just like against Milwaukee, Miami ran that zone to perfection when they ran it. They also ran it in the first half when Nikola Jokic went to the bench, and it worked out pretty good. But it was more noticeable in the fourth quarter because that's when Miami made their push to try to come back. And it worked. I mean, they even cut it to they cut it to 9 with like 3 minutes to go, I think. They got a Haywood Highsmith backdoor cut, and they were within 9. Kyle Lowry hit a couple of big threes in the fourth quarter to get him back into it off screens because they didn't fight over. They went under, so Kyle Lowry just took it as an opportunity to bury a couple threes, and yeah. But this game was really awesome. May not have seemed that way just because Denver kind of had control the entire time, but just seeing how the game kind of progressed was really cool. So at the end of the day, my general takeaways for Miami, they just need to make shots and they need more out of Jimmy Butler. And this game's a completely different story. For Denver, I mean, this is kind of what we've been seeing all postseason. Score more points, I guess is all I could say. Figure out that zone for sure. Definitely my biggest takeaway for them because you have Nikola Jokic. You should be able to break this zone, and they figured out how to break it at the end of the fourth quarter. So if they can do that, they should be fine. But Miami's really going to struggle to keep up in this series if they can't make those shots. I can't stress that enough. They barely shot it like 30% from three. I think they shot like 33, 34% from deep. That's not going to cut it. Like I said, you need more from Martin. You need more from Robinson. You need more from Strus. You need all those guys to be clicking because those are the guys you've been riding with all postseason long, and those are the guys that have been giving you results. So you're definitely going to need more out of those guys moving forward. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on Nuggets Heat Game 1, and stay tuned.